Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence from every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face." You must do the thing you think you cannot do. I'm Meryl Streep. In 1993, while making the film The River Wild, I faced my fear. I didn't know if I could make it through those rapids. And when I finished making that movie, I came away with a heightened respect for not only the danger, but the beauty of whitewater. In late November, 3 women traveled to the Grand Canyon to attempt what many thought could not be done, to navigate 300 miles of the Colorado River's legendary rapids using riverboards. They wanted to go alone, in winter, to experience not only the solitude and beauty of one of the wildest places on the planet, but to explore the wilderness inside of themselves, to see what lay beyond the known edges of their physical and emotional boundaries. This is their story.
The first time I saw the Grand Canyon, I thought, wow, what a place. All the colors, just the magnitude of it, the size of it is indescribable. To think about going down into that place, you're standing there on the rim looking in, and you could just see a glimpse of the river and just try and imagine what it's like to be down there. You know, it doesn't look real. It's something that I'm not used to looking at. I've never seen anything like it. Grand Canyon, Arizona. We camped near Lee's Ferry, in a beautiful spot right on the rim. We still needed to go through all our equipment, mostly to figure out what we don't need. We discussed the logistics of the trip and the personal concerns that we had.
At some point, either, this afternoon or tonight, I just want to sit down with you guys, make sure that all 3 of us enjoy experiences where we're challenged and where we get away from people and things. And, it's like almost anywhere in the world now, if you want to go somewhere and be remote, then you have to be willing to pay the price of either going someplace far away like the Arctic or Antarctica, or coming to the Grand Canyon in the winter.
I can't imagine putting on a dry suit full of ice in the morning for 18 days. We're gonna freeze our asses off.
I'm gonna freeze my ass off. Julie doesn't feel cold, so she's not that sympathetic. She's sympathetic, she just doesn't understand that people like me get really, really cold.
So why wouldn't you just sleep in the police pants that you...
I said I'd go, but I didn't really know what I was committing to, and I think part of that's hard for me because I have a lot of unknowns, and I'm sort of jumping into this big ditch that I have no idea what's down there. All I've heard is horror stories from people who are, the rapids are huge, there's tons of flat water, it's going to be horrible, it's going to be cold, and, that's all coming from people in 18-foot rafts. So I have a lot of insecurities because I don't know what it's going to be like, and I'm pretty nervous about it.
The reason I have so much confidence is I've put a bunch of people on boards that have never been close to the water at all. Mm-hmm. Like, the beauty about them is you go over stuff. You don't go underwater ever.
In lava, we're not going to go underwater?
We're going to go underwater in lava.
Okay, so take back what you just said.
Okay, I take it back. Maybe I should clarify it.
I'd just rather you be honest with me and say, this is really hard or this is really going to suck. instead of, oh, we won't get our hair wet, you know.
It's gonna be difficult, but I think you'll be okay.
Well, you know, I have to say, part of me is like, well, I can at least make it to Phantom, and if I hate it, I'll walk out.
It is cold.
It is.
It actually doesn't.
But there's no such thing as bad weather. It's just not enough clothes.
Right. Well.
Oh, we have some different philosophies, Julie Munger, but that's okay.
We'll make it.
Love you too.
I love you too. I can't think of two people I'd rather be doing this trip with.
Yeah, me neither, actually.
I think your questions are good because
yeah.
it makes us stop and say.
I met them first at the tryouts for the U.S. women's whitewater rafting team, and I just trust them a lot. You know, I have so much experience, which it makes me wonder why I'm here, for sure. I've definitely sort of want to tag right along behind them, you know, in each of the rapids and things like that. I mean, I definitely have expedition experience and planning experience and endurance experience, which is probably why I'm here. I can suffer along with the best of them for a while.
Cute.
I'm scared, and I won't get to talk to you for a while.
I was definitely nervous. I thought maybe Rebecca would back out the day before the trip.
Okay.
I think it was the longest period of time she's ever been away from communication, you know, because we had decided not to take any kind of satellite phone or any kind of radio and just rely on a signal mirror, which basically meant relying on ourselves to get out. And I think that was a new experience for her.
This is probably going to be one of the biggest trips I've ever done in my life.
Good morning. Good morning.
What we're doing, no one's done before. There's a few places where we can hike out, but it's pretty remote.
I'm looking forward to the solitude, the simplicity of just not having a raft. It'll be increased intimacy with the canyon, and Kelley and Rebecca and I will have a great opportunity to get to know each other better and also ourselves. And I think our definitions of success and failure might be different by the end of the trip. And who knows what'll happen. And that's one of the great things, is who knows what'll happen. Well, the first time we went to the put-in, we were actually floating around in the eddy. Then the next thing we knew, the Lee's Ferry Ranger came down and explained to us that he was not allowed to let us go. There was a statute that prohibited swimming in the Grand Canyon, and that because the nature of our propulsion, they considered us swimming when we were on the riverboards and we wouldn't be able to go. So we contested the decision in a peaceful way, and we proved that our riverboards are actual watercraft as defined by the Coast Guard. And I believe it went to the head solicitor for the Park Service in Denver, who agreed with our argument. And he called me up and gave us permission to go.
Tomorrow's the big day. That's when we start our 19-day journey. Just the three of us, self-supported, down through the Grand Canyon of the Colorado. But first, we'll be heading upstream to the base of Glen Canyon Dam for a day run to test our equipment. And hopefully we'll be able to riverboard back here to camp before dark.
What's the last adventure you did that was
Together,
extreme?
it's been a while. We went to raced in Chile at the World Rafting Championships. That was our last trip with the three of us. And then I've just come from Eco Challenge, and
Oh, you did the Eco
Julie
Challenge?
guides the Grand Canyon all the time, and
great.
Kelley just came from filming a documentary in Alaska, so we all kind of met up here for this.
Oh, fabulous.
Part of me doesn't want to go. Part of me is really curious about and excited, and I guess I'm just trying to balance all of those emotions and sort of take a deep breath, and I'm gonna try to do the best I can. I don't know what it's gonna be like. I don't know how I'll do, and I may hike out halfway through if I can't do it.
When my dad accompanied us to Glen Canyon, it was emotional for all of us, and especially for him. The last time he saw Glen Canyon, it was without the dam. So to go up there with him through that canyon and see the river, which is still there, and then come right up to that concrete dam, you know, was overwhelming for him especially. My dad is part of that generation that genuinely, deeply mourn the building of Glen Canyon Dam. And he still will say, as others say, that that is absolutely one of the most beautiful places on the planet that he has ever seen. And he has a heartfelt knowing of what's underneath that dam. And just watching him the whole way up here, you know, just sit, I mean, there are tears coming down his face. It's just sad. It's sad that there's a big plug in the river.
What a day, it was nice. Definitely blessed.
I'm happy to see us along too.
Oh man. She was dragging half the river.
It's an uncomfortable position to be on that board, and it's awkward. You know, your neck hurts from trying to look up, and your legs start hurting, and your shins start hurting from the fins being on. And that was just the first 15 miles. You know, we have nearly 300 more to go.
What do you do? I woke up in the middle of the night. I said, I'm scared. You did? Uh-huh. You're nervous?
This is going to be good to have a shaved head.
The zipper wasn't done. Did you put those other bands in your wrist? Not yet. Well, it was just in the water, but it says 38. So that's probably the water.
Good humor, good sense. And a good sense of humor. You ready?
Yeah.
I mean, the reality of it is when we pushed off from Lee's Ferry, nobody had tried to descend the Colorado River by riverboard before. And not only that, we hadn't really even done an overnight trip before on riverboards. So there's a lot of adventure in the whole process of discovery of, wow, okay, now we're here. You know, and now we're going, and we have some leaky dry suits, but we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna make it all work. And so there were a lot of emotions, like excitement, relief, exhilaration, nervousness.
Joey just told us we're fools! Are they really women or are they machines? Whoopah!
When so many people had told us that we'd never be able to go. Other river guides, friends of mine, outfitters, Pretty much everybody said, you know, there's no way, the Park Service is never going to let you go. So it was an incredible relief in that. You know, I never lost faith that we'd be able to go.
Not knowing what the Grand Canyon's like, how huge the rapids were going to be, and even coming up to the first big rapid, which was Badger, and the sound was just tremendous. Julie's laughing and excited, and I'm just terrified, asking her, what's this one rated? How hard is this one? Trying to get a gauge for what the river was like.
Our first big rapid, it was okay. And Julie told me it's an 8, so I'm happy. You can't
You get out there
from
and you
eye
kinda
level,
get
you can't
lost.
see anything.
And we got through it okay, but I just remember sticking to Julie's line, just like my life depended on it, which is totally how it felt.
You want to hold in there, keep it stabilized. I'll stick these out.
Munger and Rebecca sound good?
It sounds great. Julie, she's extremely self-reliant. She cuts her own firewood. She's built her own house. She's extremely competent. She's always on the move. She's going to the Arctic. She's going to Chile. She's, I would say, the best woman river guide there is.
There's a few of us out there that are river guides that are second and third generation river guides. And I think that some of that is definitely in your blood. I mean, from the time I was 1 or 2 years old, I was hanging out with my dad around rivers. He was either putting me in his kayak and tying the kayak to the end of a throw bag and pushing me out in the river, or I was in a little play pool next to the river while he was racing. You know, I remember being a very small child on his back, running through the woods, going skiing, everything. So my dad instilled definitely a love of rivers in my soul.
I think out of the three of us, I think Julie gets the most enjoyment out of, I don't want to say torture, but challenges. And the more difficult a trip can be, I think Julie really enjoys that.
Kelley had this huge task of trying to document what we were doing, which I know added a lot of pressure for her, and it was a lot of extra work. It took every ounce of my energy just to keep myself going, let alone thinking about pulling a camera out, trying to film, and towing on her board probably 20 or 30 pounds more of equipment than Julie and I. So physically and emotionally, she was working twice as hard, and she was stretched.
You guys, I'm gonna shoot off the board.
Shouldn't be allowed.
This will be great. I hope I got
Good job, KK.
at least something. There goes Julie. She's paddling back upstream. I just want to see the drop.
Uh-huh.
Trying slow.
Woo, there she is.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, no, that's not where I want to go. She's like, go towards that. I'm like, no!
Yeah, they see you at the top of the wave there.
Uh-huh.
So just go right at that hole. If you go too far right, you hit the rocks.
Right.
Or no, you
Well, I know. I think what we're gonna have to do is come in through that way. You don't want to just go blindly into a rapid without understanding where the obstacles are that you want to avoid. And some of the obstacles that we try to avoid in the rapids are obviously big rocks, places where water is flowing over a rock and dropping so steeply that it creates either a steep drop, which would make like a train wreck at the bottom, or where water is pouring over a rock and recirculating back on itself. And by scouting a rapid and by looking at where the water's not going over the rocks deep enough, or where these big hydraulics are, then you can avoid them. And that's what we're doing when we scout. You look at it, you evaluate it, you decide to run it, and when you kick out of that eddy, the only thing you're thinking about is where you're going and holding on.
My pulse is just flying. That was awesome though, but scary. That was great. That was our first really hard one, so it's good. I nearly backed out up at the top.
Well, Rebecca just happens to be one of the best adventure racers in the world today. So she spends a lot of time doing incredible mileage across mountains and kayaking rivers and climbing and rappelling and mountaineering and everything that they do in adventure races. So she's got an incredibly strong physical endurance background in the outdoors. She's tough as nails, although she'll tell you differently. She's probably the least experienced of the three of us with river running, but has spent some good time paddling big Class 5 water in these races that we train for. So she's the most hesitant about her river skills, but to me that just shows even more integrity on her part, because she's got good river skills. She just knows enough to be cautious.
The coolest thing about my mom is she sort of let my sister and I develop into who we wanted to be. You know, she exposed us to a lot of outdoor camping and a lot of playing outside. She tells me now that we went camping all the time because she didn't have much money, and so we went on these cheap vacations. But in my mind, that was sort of the richest experience I could have had. I think she's really proud of how my sister and I turned out.
So this is North Canyon, and there's some absolutely gorgeous supine ledges like this up the creek. There's something that happens to a human being when they're in a remote place with as much beauty and majesty as the Grand Canyon. And the combination of the intense beauty that the Grand Canyon has, the remoteness that it has, and then also navigating the river is an indescribable experience. It's really amazing being so much a part of the water. I mean, we're just right with the water and we can't fight it at all. We just have to go with it. The waves are just beautiful because you're just right on top of the waves, and then one will break over your head. But these river boards just handle really well. They're not hard to hold on to when you're getting tumbled by a wave, and then you jump on top of them and you can move somewhere.
It's very difficult to get in and out of this, especially when you have to pee. And trying to film, trying to keep the sand out of the camera and keep the water out, and trying to make it look pretty, trying to make it look real. It's hard. It's really hard. It's hard to keep up with these guys. It's like, My mom and dad both grew up in Montana. They took my sister and I on many camping trips. And they would take us fishing. I did ballet. We did all the spectrum of sports, softball, baseball, basketball, horse riding. We always were outdoors. They just let us do all kinds of stuff and introduced us to so many different things. I like working hard. I like being outside.
Kelley's been a commercial river guide for 20 years, traveled all over the world running rivers in Africa, in Chile, in Indonesia. We did an expedition together in Borneo about 10 years ago, Russia, done expeditions in adverse places all over the world. Being the stunt double for Meryl Streep in The River Wild shows her tenacity for being able to run big Class 5 water under a lot of pressure. Kelley's the easiest choice in the world. I'd go anywhere in the world and do anything with Kelley. I mean, we've been best friends for 20 years. No, I just need the food bag. It's got the first aid kit in it. I don't know where it went. It was a brown bag. It was right there.
It's over here. Underneath that yellow bag.
Everybody was smart and got everything out of the way. Just needed the first aid kit.
I was turning the stove off, and all of a sudden it just went up in flames. It started squirting fuel in the air. My whole arm was on fire, and Kelley jumped to my savior and buried it in sand and stuff. So I mean, it's red. Check it out. Look at that.
That's what I'm worried about is the black.
Yeah, that's
not good. Was your actual hand on fire?
Yeah.
The whole plastic thing just melted off the top. I thought they were third-degree burns, and I honestly thought that was the end of either our trip or at least her trip. Because third-degree burns in the field, covering that much of her hand would have been impossible to manage and too painful for her to even bear. So after we got the soot cleaned off her hand and started to look at him, I was so relieved to start seeing the blisters form.
Famous grouse. This will make the pain go away. I might need this in the morning too.
I think you're gonna need it.
For a few days.
For a few days.
Maybe for 15 days.
Medicine for the doctor, medicine for the patient.
I mean, we'll see tomorrow. We'll have to deal with it in the morning, because right now we don't know anything till we see kind of the damage. Hopefully it won't be bad.
When she was able to sleep through the night, I was incredibly relieved, not only to know that a good friend wasn't in such excruciating pain that she couldn't sleep, but also that her chances for being able to finish the trip were at least possible. You know, today probably, Rebecca, a lot of the day you can just hold on with one hand, that middle handle, and just rest that hand.
That should be good and clean, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I was just kind of getting into the rhythm of the trip and feeling like we were doing okay, and I was learning, and I was getting a little faster, getting ready and breaking down camp and all, and then this happens, and immediately I'm slowed down.
Is that going to be too tight?
Feels all right.
Make sure nothing gets in there.
At first I'm like, oh, you know, that was really scary, what happened, no big deal. But then as sort of the reality sunk in and it started blistering, and then I started thinking about how it was going to affect my trip. I already felt like those guys were taking care of me. And then here I was going to have this injury on my right hand that was going to make everything 10 times slower. It was pretty scary. I've never had a burn like that before, and especially not on your hand. And for the rest of the trip, it was an ordeal. You know, there were definitely certain things I couldn't do. And I never cooked dinner again, that's for sure. It got me out of dinner duty, which was kind of a good thing. I'd cut up the cheese and crackers, but I was kind of banned from stove duty, which was totally fine with me.
See you guys down there. I'm gonna set up a shot, it'll be great.
That is an inscription that the USGS put there in around 1923. And they came down here specifically surveying to look for dam sites. So, but on this survey is when they found the Hoover Dam site and the Glen Canyon Dam site, and then they identified the Marble Canyon Glen site. It's kind of a sad inscription.
We're traveling in the section in between these two plugs, Glen Canyon Dam and the Hoover Dam. To even think, that it was possible for them to put two more dams in the section that we ran in Marble Canyon and Bridge Canyon. Everything upstream that we had already seen, Redwall Cavern, Basie's Paradise, North Canyon. All these wonderful, magical, magnificent places would have been drowned. Thank God, that these dams didn't go through. The Anasazi, the ancient ones, they once lived here over 1,000 years ago. You can feel their presence. We're drinking from the same springs. We're walking where they walked. We're camping right where they camped.
They'd take this chert and work it into tools. So they'd start with a piece this big, then they'd flake it off. And these are kind of all pieces of tools gone bad. Either they chipped something the wrong direction or the chert broke.
What's this little round thing right there, that dark piece?
I think it's part of another mono, just because it's a smooth,
tool.
hard rock that would be good to rub with. It's black on red. It's a ceremonial pottery.
Wow. You just found it.
I just found it.
Did you see this one, Cal, with the designs on it?
There's two ways to get down to Phantom Ranch. One is hiking and one is floating the river. It's the only outpost along our route. Once we get there, we can check in with the rangers, get a hot meal, and make some phone calls and let everybody know we're doing okay. It's an oasis.
I remember sort of coming around to Phantom Ranch and looking, thinking I saw some sort of man-made feature, and then just telling myself, no, I'm sure that's nothing. I'm sure it's nothing. Then finally, I sort of tentatively asked Julie, what is that up there? And she's like, oh, that's Phantom Ranch. And I was so excited because it meant I'd made my first goal. We arrived to the rangers welcoming us and all the employees there who were expecting us and had heard about our trip, and they had hot chocolate for us and letters.
Wow, look at this place. Hi guys.
Oh my God, it's warm in here.
And then this says there's mail for Riverboard Diva, Kelley Kalafatich. Wow. And you owe $7.
I owe $7.
Whoever sent you something didn't pay enough money. Julie. This is so exciting. Oh. It was really hard to get Julie to eat enough. I don't think she realized how many calories we were burning.
Now, the thing about Granite is it's a big hit. Anybody who has ever run that in a raft or a kayak, it's a big, scary rapid. There's nothing that you can do. You enter the same way every time. There's no going around the big stuff. You just go straight down the right side, right through the big stuff. Anybody, I think, who enters Granite without and looks at Granite without a little bit of fear and a bit of apprehension is just not being smart. It's a big rapid.
The biggest thing that keyed me off for Granite, that put the fear of God in me, was that it was the first rapid that Julie, pulling into the eddy, that she had said to me she was nervous. And, Julie's like this pillar of strength and confidence the whole rest of the trip. And coming into Granite, she says she's nervous. And so that just throws me into total panic and thinking, oh my gosh, if Julie is nervous, this has got to be the mother of all mother rapids. Standing above that rapid, shivering and freezing, and I was pretty close to not running it. Watching Julie's face, trying to listen really carefully about how we're supposed to go and what we're supposed to do, but looking at it, just saying, well, once I enter, there's nothing I can do. I was terrified. I didn't want to do it. I don't know what made me do it. I think I had this goal that I wanted to try to run every rapid, but I told myself it's no problem if you walk one, it's no big deal, but I also still really wanted to try. When I had made it through Granite, I think my heart rate was probably about 200 at that point, and pounding in my chest, and I felt like I had just, run a marathon. I mean, I felt so winded and so tired, but elated and relief and ecstatic, and just put my head down on my board and just thinking, oh, I made it. I'm gonna be okay. And screaming back to those guys and yelling, and really proud that I did it, but also felt really lucky, making it through and getting washed out at the bottom.
Okay, here I go.
Let out.
Oh. Thanks, Reba.
You're welcome.
Such a fatalist Rebecca.
We've had way too much fun till now. Something's got to shit on us.
I want you to know I'm stuffing my sleeping bag with my right hand.
Let me see
And
your
no
hand.
bandages.
Wow.
It's totally healing.
Oh, that's so great. You're cleaning the coffee filter, Jill?
Yeah, with your toothbrush.
So what's lava like?
Lava's big. Lava's gonna have like one big breaking hole at the top that we have to go through.
We have to go through it.
Yeah. And then
Why can't you miss
then
it?
it's just gonna be chaos for a little while, and then it'll be calm, and then there'll be these big waves. And then it'll be over.
Why do you have to go through the big hole at the
Because it's
top?
the best of the worst options. Here's the big ledge hole. And there's a tongue to the left of the ledge hole. So there's actually a V margin. It's not too right or left. And depending on how far left or right you go, it's it's kind of hard to figure out the best way to go in there. And if you go a little bit further left, you miss the ledge hub, but the hole's bigger. And lava has a reputation for a reason. It's a big vertical drop with a lot of water in a very short amount of time. And there's incredible obstacles in lava. So you have a very fine line that you want to be on to be able to get through there smoothly. Looking at lava is always a tense moment, and it always should be for any responsible river runner. Because if you let up or you relax at all at lava, the river's going to teach you a lesson.
It's one of the big drops in the world. You know, this is lava. Very respected rapid. And it gets your heart pounding. We were confident, though. We had a lot of river miles under our belt, and it was time to put all our skills and knowledge together. It was test day.
It's definitely the biggest hit that we're gonna have, I think, on the trip. The thing about it is just a lot of water gets compressed in a really narrow area. And today we're probably gonna end up running left because it's at a water level where it's still a little bit too high to be able to run right. Obstacles are this big, huge ledge hole right across the middle of the river, and it's sort of hard to see when you're entering the tongue where it is. So there's more current going right, and there's all sorts of lava tubes and sieves and crud over there. Yeah.
Okay, good run, you guys.
Be careful.
What felt like an hour, we scouted the rapid. Finally, Julie walks up to run it alone. Kelley's shooting on the other side.
Julie was going to run the rapid first and then run it again with Rebecca. But as she was heading into her channel of water, she was just a little bit too far to the right. And she went into this massive pour over.
And we watched Julie get totally trashed, which didn't add anything to my confidence, thinking, okay, here's the Karoo, and she just got completely trashed in lava. You know, we saw her go into the very first giant hole, get pummeled, get spun around a couple times, get washed out backwards. She's just all over the place.
When I got to the bottom of that, I got hit hard in lava. I just remember going underwater and spinning a couple times and then coming out the back. So it was pretty funny for me paddling over to shore, breathing deeply, kind of regaining my composure, and then going, Rebecca, it was great, you're gonna love it.
It's the first rapid, I think, that she didn't want to run again. She said, okay, that was it, I'm only running it once, I'll shoot photos of you now. And I'm thinking, oh, she won't run it again, this is really scary.
All of a sudden I saw Rebecca heading upstream by herself, and I went, oh my God, she's gonna run this by herself. And that wasn't in the game plan.
And I just kind of took a deep breath, got in the water, and memorized walking up there. Okay, there's my spot, there's my spot, there's my spot, and I remembered it. As soon as I'm on my board, I can't find it.
Visibility from a riverboard is difficult, and she was in a current line that looked similar to where she wanted to be, but she was a little bit too far right. And the very top of the lava, she was actually heading straight for the middle of that ledge hole. I just thought maybe I'd try to point to the left side in the hopes that maybe she'd see me out of the corner of her eye.
In total calmness, she points to me, go this way more. And I see that, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm heading for the ledge hole. So I turn my board, kick as hard as I can, and the water's picking up. It's going fast, and I'm starting to drop in. And thank goodness she pointed that and got me just in the nick of time.
Lava Falls is a very famous rapid. Rebecca graduated. She made it. I was super proud of her.
At the bottom, again, my heart, my throat, and thinking, oh, I made it through lava, and this trip is finally kind of in the bag, and we're through all the really big obstacles, so it felt great. And then Kelley had to run it alone.
After seeing Rebecca and Julie go through, my knees turned jello because I knew that it was my turn to go. I was very nervous. I hadn't been nervous really up until then because I was really concentrating on filming. I was so happy, that I had this clean run. I didn't get quite as worked as Julie and Rebecca did. But one surfed me down, it blew me up a little bit. The second one.
Oh, Kelley got her hair wet.
Oh,
in lava.
Did you see what that wave did to me when I hit it?
I didn't want to go after I saw Julie's run. I was just like, maybe I'll walk this one. Maybe I just won't do all the rapids.
I would have been terrified if I was you and I tipped over in the first little
thanks,
baby
Julie,
wave.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, the first baby wave, and I'm like, wah!
Live below. I am the real photographer on this trip.
We saw so much of the canyon and saw so many things that we could have spent another 30 days on there and still not seen everything. There are a ton of magical places, and I really was taken by the place, and I want to go back. There's so much more than just the river there.
Everything that I experienced and shared with these women, I can't keep physically, but it's with me. All our excitement and challenge that we experienced and the beauty, the essence of the river and the canyon, that will be with me, and that's what I take home. It's absolutely priceless. It is. You can't put a price on it.
Hopefully, when we get to here, we'll be able to see with binoculars. It didn't really actually click in until the last 10 miles, maybe, that we're going to make it. Not only have we been out here for 19 days, but we're actually going to make it all the way to Pierce's Ferry. So there was definitely an explosion of celebration when we actually kicked into Pierce's Bay.
Go right through there. Oh yeah, that's not that far.
It's not at all.
We are exiting the Grand Canyon.
Officially. It was a huge experience for me. Going into the Grand Canyon for 19 days with 2 friends is something I'm really proud of. The fact that we did all that on our own, 3 women, had never been done before, was a big undertaking. And to come out of it friends, that's, in my mind, that's a successful trip.
Everything was on our side. We had the weather, the water level of the river was high, so it scooted us along, and the downstream breezes that we had, it was really lucky breaks.
It's been everything I would have ever hoped it to be. I do find after this trip, though, that some of my priorities have changed. Our greatest adventure, I think, in life is just day to day, tackling the little challenges that come up when we're in our own home environment. I mean, there's a full adventure there, and I think sometimes having the lifestyle that some of us have is great, it's exciting, but eventually you have to come to the fact that the real adventures are at home.
You girls are so amazing.
Oh,
You learned so much.
I think we all learned a lot.
We learned a lot, all of us, for sure. That was fun.
I'm thinking I'm gonna go to Thailand and go climbing in the sun and just wear a bikini and climbing shoes and sleep on the beach naked and not wear a dry suit or a neck gasket or any neoprene for a year.